Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast, episode number 35, behind the scenes at the Great American Outdoor Show. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
I'm Trent Cole.
And I'm Richie Elam from Blitz TV.
And you're listening to Big Buck Registry, Big Buck Podcast.
All right, welcome to the show, everybody. This is Jay Scott, your host of the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast. And I am here with my field correspondent from Ohio, Dusty Phillips. Dusty, what is going on?
Not a whole lot, Jay. It's weather's starting to break a little bit, and things are looking up. I tell you, after being out at the show and talking to some wonderful people there in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I think it's time that we do a back cap on how our weekend went. What do you think?
This is the show to do just that. That's why we are doing this show here today, is to talk about our experience at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that occurred February 1st through the 9th.
You know, it's one of the things that I highly recommend that you get out there to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for the NRA Great American Outdoor Show. What a great show it was.
It was an amazing show, and I didn't really know what to expect because you had kind of brought up the idea that we should go down there and actually physically meet for the first time, which we did. And what a great idea that was. And I have to give you kudos to that because I wouldn't have thought of that. But it was about the same distance from me as it was for you. I think you ended up spending a little more time on the road than I did on the way home for some reason. I can't quite figure that out. But
You can't quite figure it out. I think about 3 to 5 inches of snow is why I kind of spent some more time on the road.
You think that's what it was? It wasn't distance?
You was definitely riding on green grass all the way home, and I was buried in snow.
Oh, I had a clear sailing, man. It was dry, bone dry on the highway. It was that nice country drive all the way through Route 84 through New York, and it was awesome. I couldn't complain at all, but the pictures you kept sending me on the way back were not so pleasant.
You know, I hope it snows about 10 inches tonight in New Hampshire.
Well, dude, I'm living in a freaking igloo right now.
Right on.
It's believe me, every bit of karma that you wished upon me on that ride home has hit me in the last week.
That's good. I mean, I kind of you kind of gave me a little heck for being on clear roads while I was fighting the snow and that nature. But you know, it's all come back to bite you. You'll not again send a text out saying that, it's clear and great here, run 70.
I should not rub that in. Not at all.
It's coming back to bite you. Karma does come back.
It does. Now, one of the things that I found extremely interesting, and you elaborate on this, is that when we first got there to Harrisburg, the first thing we did is checked into our hotel, and then we asked where we should go get a drink and something to eat. Right?
Well, yeah. What an interesting place.
Very interesting place. And this is the stuff that, you have to go out and experience this stuff. You can't just, do your daily routine. But we were sent across the road to this restaurant called Gilligan's, and I don't smoke, and you're not a smoker. You like chewing tobacco, but neither of us smoke.
Right on. And, the beverage was good. I'll give them that.
The beverage was delicious. I think it was a Lugengimes or something like that, IPA.
Right.
It was delicious. Very smooth, great beer. But then as we're sitting there starting to sip, I'm like, hey, man, do you smoke? Like, no, I don't smoke. And we looked around the whole bar, and everybody was lighting up.
They sure were.
It was awful. Just awful.
It was like, what the heck? Can't smoke in Ohio in any bars.
Right. And I can't smoke in any bar in New Hampshire. So
it was kind of weird.
So what did? We asked the bartender, or our waiter, I should say, where can you smoke in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania? What did he say?
He says, nowhere but here.
This is the only place you can smoke in Harrisburg.
We got a family room around the corner that's non-smoking. Well, what good does that do us while we're trying to talk
Right.
and have a beverage?
So every other place we went to in Harrisburg was great.
Yeah, and I got to give kudos to the Fox and Hound. That's kind of our home base out there.
Fox and Hound, absolutely. We had some amazing service. They ran out of beer quite a bit the first night we were there, but that's just because there's so many people coming into the Great American Outdoor Show. And keep in mind, there were well over 100,000 people attending this event per day. That's well over 1 million people that would have attended throughout the course of the whole thing between the 1st and the 9th. Insane numbers, just absolutely insane. So and this is kind of the layout, is that each giant warehouse, the size of a Lowe's or a Home Depot, is one building at this place. And then you have 7 of them, each one designated to a particular subject matter relating to hunting and the outdoors. One section was the outfitters, one section was fishing and boating, another section was archery, another section was all guns, and on and on. That's how it was all set up. It was insane.
It's a lot to see. There's no way you can do it in one day.
There's no way.
You thinking you're going there in one day and seeing the whole Great American Outdoor Show? It's not happening.
Right. In fact, one of the guys from Cabela's talked to us for a little while, and he said, he's been hearing these stories about this couple that came in. They walked around the one of the main entrances, walked around that one building, and turned around and said, "That was a great show. Now we're going to leave." Said, "You've got 6 more buildings to go through."
Yeah, I think that was a common. People were like, "This is a great show," and they're not realizing that they've only seen one building.
Yep. Well, Harrisburg was pretty easy to get around. We didn't really have any problems. You drove a car down. I drove my truck down. We zipped around the whole place. It was very well laid out. GPS had no problem. Got us everywhere we wanted to go. The accommodations where we stayed and everybody, I didn't hear any complaints about any hotels. All the food was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a great weekend, really.
It was a great weekend.
I got to give a shout out to you for some awesome kind of sliding around the traffic directions. That was pretty smooth on your end.
Well, thanks, man. That's my Boston driving.
Yeah, you got us places that we would have been an hour out if we wouldn't have took your direction.
Exactly. Now, sometimes you just have to outsmart the traffic, right?
And we did.
Right.
We eased around. A lot of people that was probably the only complaint that I heard the whole weekend.
Right, that there were so many people lining up trying to get into the show that they had to wait, and I hate waiting.
Yeah,
So
there's nothing worse than going into a great show like that and having to wait an hour to get to it. Well, you could see the building, but the lines of traffic were just so bad that it took you a little time to get in there if you was parking in regular parking.
But what's interesting is that you can, if you read the map, like a good outdoorsman should, you can now find a line, an adjacent line that goes directly to the farmhouse complex, and then you're all set. It'll bring you directly there. You'll bypass all kinds of traffic. And that's what we did. We got there. We had to get to the press area anyway. So, but
VIP parking, it made a difference.
It was quite an experience. Quite an experience.
One awesome experience.
One of the things that we bumped in early on, I think after we tried Gilligan's for about 20 minutes, we ended up at the Fox and the Hound. And as we were just waiting for our table, we bumped into Mark and Hal from Premier Outfitters in Kentucky. And I'm going to play a clip from our interview that we had with them at the show in a little bit. But those guys are great, weren't they?
They were awesome. Shout out to Mark and Hal from Premier Outfitters. Mark's the owner. Hal's one of the guides. I couldn't be blessed with meeting nicer people to run into there that kind of knew a little bit about the show and was able to give us a few tips on the show. Man, great guys.
Right. It was awesome. So we went our separate ways. We had a dinner and then we split, but we got ready for the next day. We got our, tried on some of the shirts that were wearing some of our colors and flying our logos and all that stuff. And we tested out our equipment. But then we got on the floor and we started walking around just trying to figure out who was where and what was going on, which place, who was in what building and that kind of stuff.
Just kind of taking in the whole experience,
Exactly.
It was kind of overwhelming at first.
It was, but once we kind of settled in, we ended up realizing that there were a lot of people there that were just having a great time, and then we were able to pull some people aside. But we set aside just to kind of give us a play-by-play of what we had just experienced. So I'm going to play a clip from our first set-aside interview with each other as we were there.
Folks, we are live
live at the Great American Outdoors Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
What a show.
It's there's so many people here. You can hear them in the background, and that's not even a quarter of what the sound is like. But it's these aisles are what 10 feet across, maybe.
Loaded full,
shoulder to shoulder, people like crazy. And we're here with Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
If you're looking for anything, the show at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania will get you in whatever you're looking for.
Yep. It's been an interesting ride. We both traveled a good distance to get here. Dusty came out of Ohio, and how long did it take you to get here?
About 7.5 hours.
7.5 hours. I drove from New Hampshire, and that took me also 7.5 hours. And I hit Scranton. I took a picture of the intersection of I-84 and I-81, and I posted it on Facebook, and I got a lot of comments that said, well, you're not even close. And my theory on that is that if you're driving 7.5 hours, an hour and a half ain't bad.
Right, yeah. Right? That puts you at the show pretty much, right, in my perspective. We are looking good.
Yep.
And we're loving the show.
We make podcasting look good.
We do make podcasting look good.
Thank God it's not a TV show.
Correct.
Because I'm not sure we'd make a TV show look quite as good as we make a podcast sound.
You know, you're probably right. What a day. What a great start to the first day at the Great American Outdoors Show.
Yeah.
You know, we just got done talking with Matt Duff with Major League Hunters.
Yep, Major League Bowhunter.
He has agreed that he is going to join us on a podcast. So we got that to look forward to. We're waiting on a few others to get back from some seminars.
Let's see. Who else did we talk to? We talked to Fox Pro.
Fox Pro, they're going to join us.
Yep. And I think at some point we really should do a show about how hunting predators will increase your deer hunting success.
That will definitely be very informal for anybody that's got predators or just getting into predator hunting.
Right. And obviously, if you can knock down the amount of predators that are in your area, you're going to have a better chance of having more deer in your area.
That's a fact. Yeah, predator hunting is a very major focal practice after the season. You know, try to get some of the coyotes out. That's going to take out the fawns come spring.
Right. Now we also talked to Skullworks. Skullworks was a machine deer head, basically. So if you had if you found a skull or if you shot a deer and you did a little European mount on your own, you can actually cut the skulls off. You can have a full metal, or I don't know what the other material was. Do you?
Yeah, it seemed to be stainless.
Stainless? But was it a plastic on the other side?
Yeah, I'm not real for sure, but I think we're going to try getting more depth on what that material was.
Yep. But what a great way to just mount your kill after the hunt, or if you found something, that's pretty cool too. We've also bumped into Wishbone, which is a revolutionary horizontal compound bow, apparently legal in all states except Montana, right?
Yeah, it seems to be. It's very interesting how small, how compact, and still shooting pretty hot. 40 to 78 pounds.
Right. And I held it. It's
pretty light.
Really light.
Looks like it's a full-size bow in a compact version.
Yep. I'm not sure how that is legal in all 50 states except for Montana, 49 states.
Right. That's worth doing some research on, and we want to get into that a little deeper.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a compound bow, but I don't think it's registered as a compound bow, do you?
I don't think so, but it also looks like a lethal slingshot.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy, but the people here, ton of people, you know. It's a well-visited spectator show, and we're looking forward to meeting some great people.
Now, we just pulled off into the side here to do some commentary about our experience so far. And we are at a cross-section. We have bowhunting.com across the aisle here. I'm also looking across the aisle. I've got Wicked Tree gear and a Blacktail 154 outdoor gear.
Perry's No Peep is also beside us here.
Yep.
Fire Knock.
And this is only one aisle of one building. And how many buildings are there? Like 4 or 5?
Yeah, at least. There's a lot going on.
Right. Did you look up behind us, Dusty?
I did look up behind us, and I think we got realistic decoys.
What the hell is that?
So that was kind of our opening segment, and there was a lot going on.
There was definitely a lot going on. People everywhere. You know, and the realistic decoys behind us, it was kind of weird. We were standing there, and we was podcasting right there. We had our mobile units out, you know, a microphone, recorder. Up behind us was some deer, like realistic-looking deer with tails that actually moved. And
right.
People were kind of drawn into them, so it just made them draw right to us.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of those duck decoys that move around, just to kind of give it a little bit of movement in the woods.
Like a mojo dove.
Yeah, mojo, exactly. When we met Matt Duff, he was alone. He didn't have his whole crew there, but interesting guy.
Yeah.
Real easy to talk to. Just kind of, he's figured we were from the media, but he still was willing to talk to us.
Yeah, a real cool guy, and I hope he takes me up on my offer to come hunt Ohio.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean that's the nice thing. We're walking in there, and you're promising him a hunt in your backyard, which is key.
Yeah, for sure. He's welcome to hunt my place anytime, and I like what they do on their TV show and their style. And it seemed like a great guy, and we look forward to having Matt join us on a podcast in the near future.
Yep. Yeah, let's see. Then we were, as we were sitting there talking and doing some commentary, we came across some young ladies and a family that was walking through. We actually walked into the show with them, and let's hear what they had to say.
Perfect.
So let's start off with your names. Everybody say their name again. What's your name?
Michaela.
Michaela?
Mackenzie. Brianna.
And where are you from?
Marlton, New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay.
Wow, you guys traveled a decent distance to get here. How many hours did it take you to get here?
4.
4 hours.
Wow.
That's a pretty good travel. That's a pretty good distance for an outdoor show.
Yeah.
You love hunting?
You do.
Can you tell us how old you are?
I'm 11. I'm 11 also. I'm 9.
9 years old.
9.
Okay, great.
And how do you hunt in New Jersey?
Well, we go to this place with our families called Game Creek.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Because we don't have our license yet, so we just go with them and watch them.
Awesome.
Excellent. Have you harvested anything yet? Have you guys been able to shoot anything?
Not yet.
Okay. It's in the future.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Kind of.
So take us through one of your hunts that you've been on so far.
What?
Tell us about one of the hunts you've been on. How early do you get up?
Well, we go to Game Creek. We get up usually around 5, and then we, my family, my friends, or her family meet up, and we just go to Game Creek and.
What do you hunt at Game Creek?
Pheasants. Pheasants, yeah. Pheasants, quail. Yeah.
Wow. That's excellent. Now, is there anybody at this show that you're trying to find?
Here?
Yeah.
Well, we just talked to Tiffany.
Tiffany?
Yeah.
Tiffany who?
I don't know her last name.
I don't know who she is, but she's she goes on TV.
Lee and Tiffany, the Crush
Lee
TV.
and Tiffany,
Yeah.
Crush TV.
Awesome.
All right.
Very cool.
I was just making a joke. They're very popular. Okay.
Her autograph.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
all autographs
Awesome.
and
Pictures of them.
Very cool. So
That's
you're
awesome.
enjoying the show, and you've traveled a long distance to be here. That makes it that much funner when you can take a little trip.
Yeah.
Good deal. All right, good deal. Well, we hope you enjoy the show, and thanks for taking a minute with
Yeah,
us.
thanks for taking some time to share that.
welcome.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Enjoy the show.
Adios, America. Bye. Always remember me.
So that was pretty cool. I mean, this was definitely a family event, no question about it.
Yeah, the real cool thing was we walked in with them folks, and they walked behind us, and we ran into them in the show, and what's the odds?
Yeah. I mean, in reality, this was just one segment of the whole show, but there were families walking around all over the place, and I think it was loud and clear what the NRA was doing. I mean, they really wanted this to be a family-friendly environment, and it was nothing but that. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think they succeeded as far as the family environment, and they had things there for the kids. That means a lot.
Absolutely. And the grown-up kids, too, like us. We were having a good time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, in the whole gun section, you could go and play with any gun you wanted.
Anything.
It was a great environment for young kids and old kids. It was just brought every great thing about hunting out that one 9-day stint. It was awesome. Now, there was one person in particular that you started bringing up when we first got there, and I wasn't quite sure who he was, but you what was his name?
Chipcity.
Chipcity. Tell us about Chipcity.
You know, Chipcity posts a lot of videos on Facebook, and most of them pretty entertaining. I like his style, and you know, when I first got there, I said, Jay, you got to check this cat out. He's got it going on, and they're a lot of fun, and we was able to run into Chipcity there at the show. Chipcity
was a very interesting guy, and we talked to this other guy named Salvo Magro, right?
Yeah.
And he's like Chip's buddy, and they both work on the show for Brackett Outdoors.
Right on.
And it turns out Chip is the editor and producer of some of those shows, and he used to have a show called Animal House back in the day. And as I was talking to Chip, he asked me where I was from. I said I was from New Hampshire, and he said, so am I. So actually we had some good representation from New Hampshire at the show. So that was kind of neat. So we actually were able to speak with Chip City and Mr. Blackfoot himself. And
Blackfoot. Show us a Blackfoot.
And wasn't it great that the NRA actually set aside a media room where we could actually bring people back and do interviews, which was great for our stuff because we had microphones and needed a little bit quiet environment. Although it was good to hear in the background what was going on, it was good to bring him back. And I'm going to play the clip, and we're going to play this entire show in the future in its entirety, so you can hear the entire interview we did with Chip City and Blackfoot in a future time. But I want to play a little clip of what it was like to talk to these guys.
Pretty cool guys, and I'm glad they joined us, and we look forward to seeing what they got coming about in the future.
All right, here's a little taste of Chip City and Blablo.
Man, they don't have free internet here. Jerks. False advertisement.
Oh, really?
Ours seems to, on my phone, seems to hook up.
Right here, right now?
What network is it?
Let me look.
There you go. All right, they're going to start their show and stuff, Blabs, and we're going to talk and hang out, and then we'll end it with that.
So we're not... Does this show have to start right now?
No, it's all pre-recorded anyway.
All right, so like, give me.
Now, let me get a.
I don't want it to sound like crap when we sing
Let
this.
me get a password.
What's that?
Okay, dude, now this thing is throwing me off completely. Yeah, I can't hear myself play.
Yeah, right. But you can hear us talking anyway.
Yeah, I can hear you talking, but
all right.
We just like your style. I like what you got going on, man. You cut up. That's awesome. You know. So that's kind of where we're at. We're gonna strum this guitar.
You got to give me a minute.
We're not really.
We're not airing right now, right?
You're live, dude. You're live with.
Oh, so everything's live right now? Dude, you're killing me, man. You guys got to explain this to me.
Blablo. They're recording it, and then they're going to post it later, and they're going to give us the date and the time and everything.
You got to put the guitar down until we get to the end.
No hablo
You got it?
Necesito tacos.
Seriously, we want you to be yourselves. We're going to run down through your lives, where you come from, how you got to this point that you're starting to get your name out there.
I'm weird. I can't be myself if I don't know that I can do this song right now. So if I know it, then I can be myself and talk. But
you're getting nervous about the song?
Yeah, I'm nervous, dude, because I haven't played this guitar all day, okay?
You're good. We played last night.
Just keep it playing in the background, and we'll just do the show around it.
Don't tell him that. He'll play the whole damn time.
All right. Oh, man, Siri.
You missed I didn't post the last video last night. It was a Michael Jackson remix we did.
Nice.
Really?
We look forward to it tonight.
And why not? Why didn't you post it?
Someone else recorded it on their phone.
Oh.
And then when they sent it to my phone, I saved it to my phone, but it was like some different kind of format or whatever, and like Facebook will not let me upload it. Weird.
Nice to have a little jingle in the background.
That's all right. Let's do this. We'll do just a rundown. Me and Jay will start out.
Okay.
And then as we get rolling, we'll get you guys in on it.
Cool.
All All right.
All right,
Go ahead,
Blablo,
man.
that means be quiet.
So that was a little behind the scenes of what happens at the Big Buck Registry, Big Buck Podcast when you get to really adventurous hunters in the media room at the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania Great American Outdoor Show.
Yeah, that was a good time, and we look forward to see what they got to present to everybody in the near future.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting. There were some fun guys.
Fun guys. And the interview was really fun, and that was just a sample of what happened before we got to the interview. So just
Look
good
out.
stuff. Yeah, look out. You definitely want to catch the show with Blablo and Chipcity from Brackett Outdoors coming up in the next couple of weeks in its entirety. You can't miss this show.
We talk about the Blackfoot. You're going to find out. Show them the Blackfoot.
Boom. Yeah, it was awesome. So
It was awesome.
We're going to hear all about the behind the scenes at Brackett Outdoors.
Glad I got to meet them, and they're a lot of fun.
Yep. Now, as we were walking around the show, we ended up just taking in the crowd, talking to people, finding out who was where, and it took a good few hours just to kind of get your bearings straight because it's so big. But as we were walking around, this guy came up from behind me and tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, "Hey, you guys, the Big Buck Registry." And I said, "Yeah, how'd you know that?" Because we haven't been doing this for a whole lot of time, a year and a half or so. But apparently, things are going well. People are starting to recognize us. And we started talking to this guy named Albert Conklin. Albert was a fan of the show, fan of our Facebook page, and a big hunter out of New Jersey. But it's not every day that somebody taps you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, are you guys that show?"
It was cool.
It was awesome. Just made us feel really good. And so we pulled Albert aside and interviewed him right there on the spot.
All right, we're walking around the show, and this guy tapped us on the back of the shoulder and said, "Hey, aren't you the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast?" And
we said, absolutely.
That's who we are. What's your name?
Albert Conklin.
Albert. Albert is with a Hunterpreneur.
That is right.
All right, and that's something you just started recently.
Correct.
Very cool.
Soon to take over the hunting industry.
All right.
We like to hear that.
We like.
When you guys sponsor me, I think that'll work out just fine.
Right.
When we make our first dollar, we will think about it.
Thank you.
All right. It's all about growth. We just want people to enjoy our content. So.
Yep, I hear you.
That's
I
where we're
definitely
at.
hear you.
So tell us a little bit about more about Hunterpreneur.
Hunterpreneur. It started off as a joke, and because I have also a fishing apparel, Team Hookers apparel.
Nice.
And
Team Hookers. Did I hear that right? Team Hookers?
Team
Right.
Hookers apparel.
Okay.
It's on Facebook.
Right.
And my brother-in-law said, "Oh, you're like a little entrepreneur."
Right.
And I said, "No, I'm a hunterpreneur." And for about a year, I kicked it around on trying to type it in on the internet, and I didn't want no one to steal it. And then finally, I pulled the trigger and went to a lawyer, and it's in the final stages of the to become a registered trademark.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
And I'm like you guys. I'm not making money, but I love hunting.
Right.
And
that seems to be what it's all about, the love for hunting.
There's a big theme there. Absolutely.
And Hunterpreneur is the real big bucks.
Right.
I don't know if you can get that.
I get it.
Right?
No, that's clever.
That's nice.
Where
right?
are you from, Albert?
I'm from New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
New Jersey, and I am a fan of your guys on Facebook, and I click like on a lot of
Awesome.
pictures. And I also share a lot of pictures, too.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. We will reciprocate as soon as we get back to our computer.
All right, good,
Yeah,
good.
that's good. Now, did you grow up in New Jersey?
Yep.
Yeah, whereabouts?
Central Jersey. I'm not the Jersey Shore kind of guy.
Okay.
I'm not a piney, though.
Okay.
But I'm a woodsman. I love hunting.
Yeah.
You showed us a picture of a really nice buck there. Tell us a little bit about that. Where was that at?
That was I shot with a friend of mine in Pennsylvania. I got invited to his property, and I just got lucky, and it scored 161 inches, and it was unbelievable.
Nice.
You know what I mean? It was. I shot some nice deer. I got 140 inch and nice 125 class deer, but that was my first buck that when I walked up to it, the antlers actually got bigger than getting smaller.
No ground shrinkage. We like to hear that.
Yeah.
No ground shrinkage is good.
Yeah, awesome.
We need to have a term for that.
Yeah, I shot a 10-pointer in Texas. I thought it was a world record. And I as I walked up to it, it was very small. It was a nice buck. It scored 110.
Yep.
But when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is. I'm getting a full mount, you know.
Yeah, that's keeping it real there, you know.
Yeah.
Was it your first buck or?
No. My first time in Texas.
Okay. Right.
So I've been back. I shot a real nice 8-pointer, and then I shot a couple scrub bucks. Nothing real crazy, you know.
Have you hunted other states besides New Jersey?
Pennsylvania,
okay.
New York, Georgia, South Carolina, Florida. I shot a moose in Maine in 2004.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, 50-inch bull moose.
That's closer to me. I'm from New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
Dusty's from Ohio, so I understand that terrain very well.
Yeah, nice. It was my 4th year. I drew on the permit.
Awesome.
Everybody's like, "You're crazy. You ain't gonna win." I said, "I'm gonna hunt. You see, I'm gonna hunt a moose."
Yeah.
And my 4th year, I drew 2004 and drew a bull tag, and the hunt was over real quick, though.
That's awesome.
Tell us about your buddy. He looks like a bodyguard. Is that your bodyguard?
Is that your bodyguard you got with you?
Well, you know, the ugly guys are the tough guys.
he looks like somewhat of a bodyguard.
Actually, he is a veteran of war. You know,
thank you.
He's a hero of ours. But he's actually just getting into hunting.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Tell us a little about, folks, if you're just tuning in, we're here at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And tell us a little bit about what you think about the show now that you're here and seeing everything.
Well, this is quite different, I think, than how it used to be ran. Got to get used to it, you know what I mean? But there's a ton of people here.
Right.
I didn't get into the main outfitters hall yet, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting into that.
It's large, isn't it?
Yeah. And hopefully I could book a hunt. We'll see what happens. But there's definitely a lot of people, and I'm looking forward to definitely enjoying it, regardless.
Yeah.
So when you say you're going to book a hunt, what kind of hunt are you looking to book?
Probably a deer hunt. But as a hunterpreneur that I am, I'll hunt anything.
Right.
From squirrel to rabbit, But who knows? Whatever catches my eye, that person that draws my, keeps my interest, and I feel like I'll have a good time. That's who I.
How's the hunting in New Jersey?
Believe it or not, it's excellent.
I've always heard good things.
I'll tell you, we have some Jim Dandies shot in New Jersey.
Yep. Pretty dense population. Like there's not a lot of room for the deer to move around in, right?
Yeah. The secret is they're close to the houses. That's where the big bucks are.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
They know where safety is.
Yeah. And but I'll tell you, it's if you want to kill deer, it's definitely a state to. It's not to be written off the chart.
It's kind of a hidden secret.
It really is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't listen. They don't realize what caliber of whitetail are in your area.
That is true.
And it's kind of like an urban monster.
Yeah. Everybody thinks
that's cool.
We're like just like a scrub buck state.
Right.
But there's some. There was an expo in January in New Jersey, and they had the state records there. Let me tell you, there's some very high quality trophy deer there.
Well, there are a lot of deer. Like there's a good population.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. And we talked to Rob Lucas from Chasing Tail on our show not too long ago, and Rob's show is all based out of Southern Connecticut in the high rent district, the high end homes, and they have a Bible basically. It's like that thick. All they do after the season, they start their journey to try to go get more permission slips to renew for the following season, just so they're ready for the season. But basically, they have to get permission to hunt close to the homes. You have to get permission anyway. But these guys are going up and like sitting in trees that are in sight of their house, the house that they're hunting. So it's getting close is important, or getting close to the house. That's where all these deer are roaming around anyway.
It seems like more and more that residential areas are getting educated on how to feed the deer to see them. They're growing monsters.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Well, Albert, this has been fun. Did you have another story? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, how are you guys enjoying the show?
We're loving it.
We are loving it. We're meeting some awesome people like yourself and getting to know quite a few people. And
yep.
Jay and I, we journeyed here from Ohio for me and New Hampshire for Jay.
Yep.
And it's been a great decision to come out to the show.
Met a lot of great people, a lot of celebrities that are celebrity hunters anyway. You know?
Awesome.
And we're getting to talk to a lot of people like yourself that have a page on Facebook. They're up and coming. They're trying to get something going, and it's just awesome. And people like yourself tapping us on the shoulder, say, "Hey, I want to be on the show."
Yeah, it's very cool that you recognize the Big Buck Registry, and that's kind of where we're leading. Being at the show here is to get our name out there, and for more people to be able to recognize us, and more people to tune in to the podcast and listen and enjoy us.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I definitely appreciate you guys on Facebook, and now after meeting you, I'm really going to be hammering it hard.
Absolutely, man.
That's awesome.
They know who I am now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna. No, I'm definitely.
It's cool. Share those big bucks. We want to keep seeing them coming in. We'll post them all day if we keep getting them. You know,
right. At
some point, I suppose we're not going to get some during the summer, but that's okay.
We look for roadkill big bucks in the summer.
There you go.
Right,
but there's none.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Albert.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me be on your show, and definitely best of luck to you guys.
All right,
know?
Thank you.
We'll see you on Facebook.
Yep, definitely.
All right,
Definitely.
awesome. Good.
All right, that's Hunterpreneur on Facebook.
Entrepreneur. Thanks.
Bye.
So there really was just 7 buildings filled with hunters as passionate as Albert.
Oh, for sure. There was hunters that love to hunt everywhere.
That entire show was all about that. It was one of the most intense hunter gatherings I've ever attended. It was just people just like Albert all across the board for miles. It was awesome. So we were having a good time when we first got there. We met up with a couple of gentlemen at the restaurant. It turns out they were a couple of outfitters, and they were in the Outfitter Hall, which was a place that was completely dedicated to just outfitters. And there were, I don't know, how many outfitters do you think were there?
Oh, 500 plus.
It was insane. Everywhere you walked, it was a whitetail hunt, a boar hunt, a alligator hunt. They were just across the board.
Yeah, you could line up an African safari hunt there. That was
Absolutely.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I think SCI was it. They were there. You name it, they were there. But we really enjoyed hanging out with Mark and Hal from Premier Outfitters out of Kentucky, and we decided we really need to get back to their booth to interview them on the spot. So here's the behind the scenes at Premier Outfitters.
All right, we're here at the Great American Outdoor Show with Premier Outfitters, and we bumped into a couple of guys at the restaurant the other night. Not exactly the spot we'd expect to bump into people at the show, but we hit it off. And we're here with Mark Clifford, and Dusty's here.
Having a great time. Premier Outfitters of Western Kentucky.
There we go. Archery, muzzleloader, and rifle. What's
Dusty
happening, Mark?
J. Yeah, man, good meeting y'all. Had a good time the other night. Met you out at the restaurant. Didn't expect to run into a couple characters like you.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're just
That's part of it.
We're just happy to be here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, man. A lot of good people, big turnout, thousands of people at the show. It's a good time every year.
Guys, if you can picture this, we're standing behind the scenes at Premier Outfitters here at Harrisburg Great American Outdoor Show. We're actually in their booth watching a DVD on the big flat screen behind us. We got Mark Clifford, and we're going to get Hal on the show before it's over here. He's itching. I can see him over there itching to get in the show. And, and Hal's one of the guides at Mark's Outfitter, and seems to be a pretty decent guy. And we like what you got going here at Premier Outfitters. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mark. Where are you from? How you got your start, and what's to come from you?
Well, I tell you what, I was born and raised in the southern part of the United States in South Carolina. Did a lot of hunting down there growing up, and started like everybody else, wanted to go to the Midwest. Started hunting Kentucky and landed on a little place out there and ended up with a pretty big slice of heaven. I got 14,000 acres out there now in western Kentucky, Christian County, the mecca of big buck country.
I don't know about you guys, but 14,000?
That's a lot of acres, man.
Oh, man, that seems like a buck mega there.
It is. Kentucky is ranked #1 whitetail state now for Boone and Crockett entries, and we just love what we do, man. I'm living the dream. I think every hunter would love to have a place like this and be able to cater to their clients and put them on big deer, and it's just something I love doing every day, and it's just I feel so blessed to be able to do this.
Yep. How did you get into it in the first place?
Well, for about 25 years, every year I take a pilgrimage somewhere to go on a deer hunt, and started going to different outfitters. And one day I was sitting in Alabama with a friend of mine, And I said, you know what, Jimmy? I am going to open my own place one day. And Jimmy said, yeah, right, you're dreaming. And I said, well, you know what? It is a dream, and I'm going to make that dream a reality. And so now part of my advertisement on my website is this is a hunter's dream come true. Now you can live that dream. Everybody wants to do something like this. So when you come to us, I've taken 25 years of knowledge of hunting with different outfitters, and I've got some of the bad and some of the good and weeded out the bad and made it, what I wanted it to be. So when people come to me, they have a hunt of a lifetime.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that takes that's what it takes to be a good outfitter, is to find out what the good and the bad is and try to run with all good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where did you grow up, Mark?
I grew up in the South Carolina, and now I'm in the upstate of South Carolina. I have a home there in Greenville County, and I've got another home in Christian County, Kentucky.
Gotcha. Now tell us about your crew a little bit. We know how. Tell us about your crew.
My crew?
Yeah.
I've got 6 guides that work with me. I've got every one of them are very accomplished bow hunters. They all grew up in the woods, hunting, fishing all their lives, and just a very good group of guys. It's a good deal. You come hunt with us, you're not going to get some little taxi driver to take you out to a stand. You're going to get a guy that's had a good career of whitetail hunting.
Yeah, I think that's the main focus there, not to get a taxi driver as your guide.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, you'd be surprised at some of the places you go to. They just take you out and drop you off at a stand and not know what they're talking about. These guys, when they put you somewhere, they're going to tell you why they've put you somewhere. They've got the knowledge of the property and the deer movement.
Right. We got to talk to Hal a little bit, and he's a former firefighter, right?
He is a former firefighter, and he's just sitting here trying to grab this microphone out of my hand, wanting to talk on here.
Yeah, the guy seems to be like a legend or something, He just got that look that he's some legend material. I think you got the right guy running your rigging down there.
I tell you what, I'm very fortunate to have him. And Hal's sort of he likes to stay behind the scenes. Hal's the guy that puts your stands up, goes out, he'll have his binoculars on him, and I've got one of my nephews work for me as well. And you just can't get them out of the woods. They just want to stay out there all day. But
that's what it takes, though. Dedication, take you to the next level hunt is what sounds like you guys got going on there at Premier Outfitters, and definitely get on. Tell us how they can contact you if they're wanting to check out your hunts, Mark.
Hold on, before we do that, I want to go through a hunt. I'm watching this video. Can you take us through this hunt?
That was on January the 15th back in 2011. I get to hunt a little bit after all my hunters leave camp. We generally stop hunting around the 20th of November. So late season, I get to finally get all geared up and get in the woods. And this particular buck that you're watching here ended up scoring 179 inches and 6/8. Just a world-class whitetail, a pretty good example of what you can see in Kentucky. You know, everybody's not going to see a deer of that caliber. It's a once-in-a-lifetime deer, but I was lucky enough to harvest this buck at 10 yards, and just a hunt of a lifetime for me. I've been hunting all my life, and that's my first Boone and Crockett buck that I've harvested.
Gotcha.
I've taken over 25 Pope and Young bucks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, do you have areas in your 14,000 acres that you try not to go on? They call it like sanctuary.
We do. We have a big part of this 14,000 acres that are just off limits.
Okay.
We just don't even have any type of human contact in there. We don't run trail cameras in that area. We've got to leave a place of security for the deer.
And that helps to produce larger deer year after year. And
it does, and what happens is everybody has neighbors. It doesn't matter how much property you have, but there's going to be a certain amount of pressure around your properties. And what happens is this sanctuary, deer from the neighboring properties come in and they'll take up residence in there. So we've got a steady stream of deer coming in and out of our property.
So, and that's a good point, is that if you're in the middle of other properties where it's hunted and you have a safe place for them, they're going to come naturally to your spot.
Absolutely.
That's brilliant. Absolutely.
I think everybody should have adopt that plan into their hunting strategy.
I think we got a deer whisperer here.
A deer whisperer.
Yeah, it sounds like he's drawing all the neighbors' deer. That qualifies for a deer whisperer position.
Come over here. It's safe.
Yeah.
It's safe.
That's right.
We'll
Yeah.
protect you.
That's right.
It's sanctuary is well known around the world. That's somewhere that you got to have for the deer to go for a safe haven. They got to be somewhere no pressure, no activity, and it's proven fact that it grows larger deer. You seeing the same thing there at your place?
Absolutely. You have to offer an area like that. Plus, you've got to have a good environment for the deer. We're a working grain farm. It's corn and soybeans, so we've got a year-round nutrition program for them. Also, we plant supplemental food plots and put out vitamins and minerals for them.
That's cool. So it's a working farm too, so you actually harvest the crops in addition to letting
corn
them
and
eat?
Soybeans.
That's
Yep.
awesome. Very cool. So
That's a good food source. Corn and soybeans, proven fact.
So some commerce comes out of the farm too. So it's not just the hunting, but you can actually sell off some of the grains and stuff.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool.
It may be somewhere we had to check out, Jay.
Well, I knew that was coming. I knew it wasn't going to be long before Dusty would want to get down there on some of that food.
If you don't want to invite Dusty and just invite me, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
We're going to get both of y'all down. What we'd like to do is get you down on a hunt and have you do a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
From Premier Outfitters. That
That'd
way
be awesome.
some of your listeners can experience firsthand what you're seeing.
I think that would be great.
That'd be awesome.
And cutting in and out of segments as hunters come back from the field, get their opinion on what's going on. What did you experience today out in the field? What were unique points of that hunt?
It'd be awesome to have
Right.
a full, what do I want to say, all tree stands full when we show up.
Right.
That way that we can talk to the clients, we can talk to your guys that guide, and we can get Mark back on the show.
Right. I know this is a pet peeve of yours. No cell phones, no iPads in the tree stand, right?
I tell you what, we've become such a technologically advanced society, and I know everybody has to have a cell phone with them, but you know what? When you're hunting, stay off your cell phones.
Right.
Don't do the Candy Crush and the watching your iPads in the stand, because we have a lot of hunters that say, man, I wish I wouldn't have been on that. That buck wouldn't have got by me.
So
But
you've actually had guys take their iPads out to the stand?
they've taken their iPads out in the stand and they were watching different shows on it, watching TV, the football games.
I don't think they realize what they're getting into when you go
Right.
to Premier Outfitters.
Well, you know what? In defense of some of the hunters, a lot of the guys that come in there, we've got such a hectic life, and there's not many chances that we can get away without some type of communication with work or what have
Sure.
you. But
Well, that I understand.
yeah, and some of the guys are actually doing business out of the stand, but I wish that they could, for them, take advantage of this time and just, relax and have a good time. That's what it's all about.
Right. I mean, I could, if you were just hunting out behind your house and you're, just to get out for a couple hours and you carried your phone with you, I can see that. But this is a planned trip. But you're not coming there. You're not going to just stumble upon this place and start hunting, right?
No, we're going to have you in an area that you're going to have a chance of possibly harvesting the deer of a lifetime.
Right.
That's awesome.
I don't know about you. I'm leaving my iPad. I won't even bring it. It's staying at the house. If I'm going to harvest a deer of a lifetime, I don't even want to go anywhere near that.
I might bring my phone, because once I harvest a deer of a lifetime, I'm shooting some pictures out to everybody.
Yeah.
The phone's got to go, guys. I got to have that
phone's
phone
okay.
to shoot that text
Right.
out after I've harvested a buck at Premier Outfitters. That picture's got to get out there.
Right.
Hey, Facebook, it'll be out there.
Exactly. All right, Mark, tell us how people can get a hold of you.
I tell you, if you want to contact us, info at premieroutfitters.com, premieroutfitters.com. You can give me a call at area code 864-938-8699. Look us up on the web. We've got a very comprehensive website. We've got a Facebook page. So we're easy to get in contact with.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
Pleasure
you coming
meeting
on with
guys.
us.
You're welcome.
Those guys are great, were they not?
Oh, awesome guys. Mark, thanks for joining us on the show. And if you're really serious about booking an awesome whitetail hunt, check out Premier Outfitters on the internet. Check them out on Facebook and definitely get hooked up with them. I think you're going to have a hunt of a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Those guys are great guys. We really we know they're good people, and they're on some pristine whitetail country property. Unbelievable.
Yeah, just for going there to the show and just meeting them, their hospitality towards us was unbelievable.
Yeah, they had a Southern hospitality thing going on that, you're just going to be real comfortable when you go there. There's no question in my mind. It was about this time, Dusty, where two very important things started to happen when we were there. We started to get hungry, and we started to try to find Lee and Tiffany from the Crush.
Right on. We did start to get hungry. That was for sure.
Right. And I let you kind of lead the way, and your nose led us to this unbelievable ham sandwich shack.
I'm wishing I had one right now.
I know. I could eat 2 or 3 of those. It was amazing. It was almost like this Canadian bacon with just regular old, American cheese or cheddar cheese or something on it. But it was the bun that made it. It was a pretzel roll bun.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Little mayo, little mustard, little honey mustard, just to die for.
I had to be careful, Jay. If you'd have got a piece of that ham sandwich with that pretzel bun on your forehead, I know your tongue would slap your brains out trying to get to it.
There's no question in my mind that I still to this day, I dream about that sandwich. And we went back and got one the next day, and we bought a couple from Mark and Hal. But man, they were just phenomenal. It was so good. I took a picture of the box of the pretzel company that made the buns.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Like my mouth is literally watering right now. Yeah, it was a great sandwich.
Great sandwich.
Ham and cheese, hot ham and cheese on a pretzel bun,
Just awesome. I don't know if that's a Harrisburg thing, but that is probably one of the best food items you can find down there. And it's kind of tucked away not even in the food hall. It's just kind of tucked away in the corner en route to like one of those bypass halls.
Yeah, I think there was 2 ladies that ran it that, they took pride in their sandwiches, and I got to give them credit. It was a delicious sandwich.
Just it hit the spot. Eat every day. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, you walk around there before lunch. You can get 5-8 miles in, no problem.
Right, and then we kind of ventured over to the Crush Outfitters, or not Crush Outfitters, in the Outfitters Hall, but it was Crush, the show with Lee and Tiffany, and we were just trying to see how we were going to get a hold of them. And every time we went over there, the line was basically as long as the hall was.
Yeah, you know that they're great people when their fans are probably waiting in line for 2.5 hours just to say hey to them.
Exactly. Yeah, just super popular people, and so we kind of put that on the back burner. Figured we'd get to them at another point. And then we went back to the media room, and we started setting up for some interviews. We set up for the Chipcity Blablo interview, and we started setting up for the Blitz TV with Trent Cole and Richie Elam. And we started talking to a fellow by the name of Kyle Weaver, who is help me with his title, but I believe he is the Assistant Director of General Operations for the NRA.
Yeah, he's definitely higher up in the NRA, and I'm going to look to make sure and confirm that we say the right thing on what he actually does for the NRA. And but we was very fortunate that I actually ran into him there in the press room, and I just started talking to him. Imagine that, I started talking to somebody. You believe that?
Dude, you're a hound dog when it comes to talking to people. You do it better than just about anybody I've ever met.
I think I enjoy people more than anything, and it don't matter who you are or what you do, or I enjoy getting to know people, and I enjoy the experience of figuring out some things about the person that you're talking to, and that's kind of where Kyle came about.
Now, I was over on the couch on my phone because I had to deal with a at-home situation with the wife. But what did you and Kyle talk about?
We talked about how the show was going, what was going on with the show, and Kyle being the executive director of general operations with the NRA. That's something. He's a big role and everything that goes on in the NRA. And Kyle focused on making it a family event.
Yep.
Everybody looks at the NRA and they say, oh, it's just about rifles and guns. And, I'm going to back you up and tell you that that's not the case. There's a lot more to the NRA than you would ever think about. Kyle, with having a family, and him being the executive director of general operations of the NRA, set up an event that was family orientated, and it was phenomenal. They did great work. That it sounds like there was a group of 15, maybe 20 that organized the whole event. Mm-hmm. They pretty much set it all up, and they kept in mind the family. They kept in mind that you're going to bring your family to this event, and you're going to have your young kids or strollers. They did some widening of the aisle so that it's more comfortable with people with families, so that they could get around a little easier. There's just a lot going on with the show there in Harrisburg, and with the NRA being family oriented with that, it made a difference.
Made a huge difference, and Kyle was basically in charge of putting that entire show together, and we got a chance to talk to him. Got a chance to talk to his wife, and he had a really long title, and he was a pretty important person in the NRA. But I did get him to record this when we were down there.
This is Kyle Weaver with the NRA, and you're listening to the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
And he nailed it on the first try.
He did nail it.
Yeah, it was awesome. And his wife was very, very nice too, and they invited us down to Virginia to NRA headquarters at some point, which we really should go down there and visit and do a whole show on the NRA. And one of the things I thought was really nice is they invited us to their evening event that was going on that night.
Yeah, that was very nice of them, and we took advantage of it because it was the experience of a lifetime.
It was, and there were so many incredibly cool people hanging out up there. It was a sit-down dinner, and we got to enjoy it with a lot of NRA fans. So that was great. Now, one of the things that happened in the media room when we first set up is I met this retired fish and game officer, and kind of a crotchety old dude. But we were able to put him down on the mic. I basically told him that it was dispatch, and I set him down on the mic and said, this is what happened.
All right, we're here with Officer Fredmund Buck, who is a longtime conservation officer.
That's 42 years I did there, Jay.
42 years? Did you know that you retired?
Oh, what do you mean? Retired, that's for them fellas that quit the work down there.
Officer Buck, you retired like 20 years ago.
Well, sir, I still pitch the law enforcement down here. You don't question my authority. If you out there breaking the law, I'll write you a ticket, son.
I bet you would. Do you still get a check from the State Department?
I'm not sure. I don't know. My wife takes care of all the finances. We're not here to talk about finances, Mr. J. Scott.
Do you have an iPhone?
Yes, sir.
You do? Do you even know what an iPhone is?
Well, it's one of them flip things out there that just call somebody, ain't it?
Right. Is it illegal to use your iPhone when you're deer hunting?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean? What kind of question is that? This is about the laws, not the phones.
Well, it's a law question. I mean, what kind of electronics can you use in the woods?
Well, you can take not too many electronics in the woods down here.
Okay, all right. What can I take?
Ammunition, your smoke stick, and a bag of beef jerky, deer jerky, whatever you prefer.
Now, can I videotape on my iPhone? Like if I'm shooting a deer?
You talk about iPhone. What's an iPhone? Wait, just a recording device? What is an iPhone? I don't understand. iPhone sounds like a ticket to me.
You just told me you knew that you had one.
Well, that's why I got a flip phone. I don't know. It's one of them there phones you call somebody on. That's called an iPhone. You talking about getting a ticket. You bring something like that electronic device out there to call them deer from.
Are you going to write me a ticket if I use an iPhone in the woods?
Tell me what an iPhone is.
It's like a phone, but it's a portable phone.
Is it a deer call?
It could be.
I tell you, if it's a deer call electronic device, we don't allow them.
Even if it's on my iPhone?
You're damn right.
So that was the inception of Fredmund Buck being a guest on our show. He's agreed to join us many times to come.
I think Fredmund's going to have a lot to offer.
I think he does. I mean, he's going to give us great insight to the whole world of being a fish and game officer, basically. And we actually got a chance to talk to some of the fish and game officers from the state of Pennsylvania, but they wouldn't talk to us on mic. So this is going to be a great way for us to have an insight into their world.
Yeah, I think Fredmund will give us the details on how you're going to get a ticket.
Yeah. Hey, you got a chance to talk to him a little bit, right? To get a little more detail on who he is and what he does and all that kind of stuff. And you got some pretty cool details on it. And from what I understand, he still has an old CB radio in his international vehicle that he still drives around in from like the 1980s or something, right?
Yeah, he says that we can reach out to him, but give him a little notification. I don't know what he meant by that, but I think that if we tune our system up and get the right signal out there, that we can contact Fredmund Buck, and we plan to contact him.
You got his flip phone number, right?
Yeah, he said it was an iPhone, but
he didn't know.
It was like the first flip phone that ever came out for a cell phone.
He was a bit senile and a bit crotchety, and he was willing to write a ticket to anybody he thought was going to either commit or has already committed some kind of game crime.
I think if you look a little funny, that Fredmund's going to write you a ticket.
Yeah, I mean, he still has his tickets that he just kind of keeps in his back pocket. You see, he's just itching to give you one. So, but it's good. We'll have a little insight into the world of the fish and game officers, because the other ones just won't talk to us for some reason.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing from Fredmund, and man, I think it's going to be real interesting material for everybody, the listeners, to hear.
Yep. I wanted to give a quick shout out to my good friend and one of my inspirations for doing this podcast in the very beginning of when we started doing this, a guy by the name of Peter St. James. He's a longtime outdoor writer for the state of New Hampshire and does a radio show in the morning commute at WTPL 107.7 The Pulse. And as we were in our media room after we had just talked to Fredmund Buck, we turned around and there was a guy walking down the hall. I think we had just also talked to Kyle Weaver, and he had this big white 10-gallon hat on, and I thought for a second it was Wayne LaPierre and a cowboy hat. It turns out it was my good friend Peter St. James from New Hampshire, who had come down for the day to cover the show and meet up with some of his friends. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, seemed to be a great guy, and I like what he does on the radio as far as for the outdoors.
Yeah, and we really should have him on our show at some point, because that guy has done so much for the outdoors, writing about it, promoting it. He's quite an inspiration for me and really what we're doing here on the podcast.
Great guy.
Let's see. So from there, we ended up talking to. We took a little walk. We bumped into this stage where the NRA had set up their own podcast booth, and they were doing like video. And we learned at that point that NRA has a podcast called NRA News Cam and Company, and we got to listen to it a little bit. Now, God bless them, but they do 3 hours a day.
That's a lot.
I can't do that, man. I can't do 3 hours a day. I mean, I'm in awe that they can do that. But we can't do that. It's just too much. We can handle about 1 hour a week, thereabouts.
Yeah, and 3 hours a day.
Now, I did have 7 hours to drive home, and I listened to the whole show about the Great American Outdoor Show that he was doing live, and it was very informative. And I got to listen to a lot of the people, the same people we talked to, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's they got a cool thing going there.
Yep. Now they do have NRA Outdoors, and at some point, I would love to see us start doing some stuff for NRA Outdoors. I think that would be phenomenal.
I think that maybe we can get in touch with Kyle Weaver and see if we can do the NRA members talk about their hunts, their stories. How awesome would that be?
A second podcast that's dedicated to the outdoors for the NRA. That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
And I think we're just the guys for the job. Now, one of the things that was going on down there is it was the whole thing with Lee and Tiffany. Again, we tried to get into their booth before. We couldn't do it. But we left the NRA dinner, or after we left the NRA dinner, everybody had basically cleared out of the show. But Lee and Tiffany's booth was still going on. But there were only like 3 people in line. In fact, they had closed it off. So what did you do, Dusty?
Well, we walked up and we asked if we could talk to them.
Yeah. And they talked to us for a little while. We got some pictures taken with them. And they agreed to be on our show in the near future.
You know, it's going to be a great show. Not only do they love hunting, but they harvest phenomenal whitetails.
Yep. So pretty cool stuff. And I am looking forward to that interview. I think that's going to be fantastic. We did talk to some other guys from Blitz TV, Richie Elam and Trent Cole. Now, Trent is also a linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been there for, 9 years, I think it was?
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
What a great guy.
Great guy. I mean, just an amazing guy. We were able to sit down and interview Trent and Richie for the whole thing. And turns out they're friends with Matt Hyatt, who has also been on our show, and he was the guy that shot Big Frank. And he did the whole show with us just before we got to the Great American Outdoor Show. So it was great to meet some of his friends who are also doing great things with the outdoors. And those guys are not far from you, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, Trent Cole was from Xenia, Ohio. And I'm just a little bit southwest of Dayton. So they're pretty local. And, Trent's got some farms in the area. And the Blitz TV's got it going on, it sounds like.
Yep. So we're going to play that entire interview for you guys in a future show, but let me just play a little clip for you.
Trent Cole from Blitz TV and Richie Elam, right?
That's correct.
All right, man. What's going on, guys?
Oh, not much, man. Just out here enjoying the show that they have in here in Harrisburg. The NRA's putting on a great show here, the Great American Outdoor Show, and we got a booth out here, and just seeing all the people and just enjoying it. After having a big season and with the Philadelphia Eagles. And, Sally ended shortly with the Saints, but, now I'm out here and enjoying my other passion, is just the outdoors and enjoying it with other people, friends and stuff that's enjoying it with me out here at these shows to get the season started off for a new hunting season.
Awesome. Trent, I was pulling for you because your coach is from New Hampshire, and I'm from New Hampshire too. And I'm a UNH grad where he coached formerly.
I didn't think they knew football in New Hampshire.
We've never been recognized for much, I'll give you that. In fact, it's kind of funny. I never played organized football. We never really had it. It wasn't really available. Then my nephew played for a high school team, and he went all state, and he was a center.
Really?
Like, I could have been somebody, and he's no bigger than I am or anything like that. But then I started looking up the stats. We've had basically no NFL players since the inception of the NFL.
That's why I had that kind of response. That was the second thing. That was the second question to have for you. I was like, do you know anybody who's came out, any current players? But
nobody.
Yeah, but there's always somebody come out. It's like they might be undercover with it, but it just every state produces, and this is the way it goes.
We produce an occasional basketball player, and we are a machine when it comes to professional baseball pitchers. Lots and lots and lots of baseball pitchers. So, but football is not our thing.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. Just like, you got Ohio, they kind of breed out, football players, and you got like New Hampshire.
Right.
Everybody loves baseball, and and everybody's striving to, be the best baseball player they can be and make it to the big leagues. So it's it depends on what geographic area you live in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's different all across the country, but I like living where I live, but I like getting out and meeting people, and that's why we're here at the shows, to meet guys like you guys and learn a little bit more about your story.
That's enough about the football. Let's talk some deer hunting.
Guys. All right, we went off on a little tangent. We need to learn a little bit more about you guys too. But yeah, let's talk some deer hunting.
Let's just get a little rundown. And
so you had to basically slap me across the head for talking too much football and too little deer hunting.
Yeah, I think he was on it was almost like you had buck fever with a professional NFL player.
It could have been. Yep. Well, what a great guy. And that whole show and the guys he's hanging out with, great people. And of course,
Blitz TV seemed the whole crew seemed a lot of fun. And again, we thank them for sitting down with us. And we're going to talk to Trent Cole and the guys from Blitz TV in the near future on a full blown podcast, all about deer hunting.
Yep. And it'll be played in its entirety. The whole interview we did with those guys down there. So the show's kind of wrapping up at that point, and we ended up doing a little more tour. We went back to see if we could find Cam and Company, and who did we find? But
put down that remote control, get off your backsides, and drop and give me 25. I'm the Gunny, and it is my mission to help you turn your life around. Life is about honor, courage, and commitment, and it's time for you to get with the program, sweetheart. Pick up my new book, Gunny's Rules, and learn how I came up in the school of hard knocks and then got squared away in the Marine Corps. In Gunny's Rules, I've shared some of my best stories about Hollyweird, my time in the Marines, and more. Stuff you won't find anywhere else. Want to learn how you can follow your dream? Do it the Marine Corps way, with blood, sweat, and tears. Grab a copy of Gunny's Rules today, and then get another one, because I know that you got a friend that is pretty screwed up and needs help too. Semper Fi. God bless.
That was great. So we got to meet the Gunny, Arlie Ermey from. He was actually. I looked up some of his early work, and he was Stanley Kubrick's advisor for all the military shows. In Apocalypse Now, he actually played a helicopter pilot way back then, and he's been in all kinds of things. And he's one of the big spokespersons for the NRA. And we got to meet him. We were just randomly in line at the right time.
What a great experience it was. And it's not every day that you get to meet the Gunny.
You don't meet the Gunny every day. And it was funny because we asked him if he would be on our show. He said, sure, just talk to my manager here. Here's how you reach him. They just tell me where to go, and I do. So it's kind of funny, somebody that's in that, who's been around acting for so long, now has a schedule based off of where they want him to go. That's how famous he is.
Pretty cool.
Very cool. So a couple other people we got to talk to, Ralph and Vicki from Archer's Choice, very nice couple, and they agreed to be on the show in the future. And that was kind of the wrap up of the show. We ended up leaving on Sunday morning, but one of the people that we ended up bumping into was a guy by the name of Dave Hoffman.
What a great guy.
Do you remember how we met up with Dave? Like how it all kind of came together?
Walking into the archery area, the archery building, to your left was kind of just a start of a normal row of vendors, and we was walking down through there, and you remember looking up and saying, wow, look at that tree stand. Mm-hmm. This thing was probably 12, 14 foot, probably had a 10-foot platform, maybe 12-foot round platform, hexagon, just looked really nice. Had a nice steel ladder going up the side of it, and it sparked both our interests. There was a guy up there that was as you walked under, was kind of blowing on a grunt call, getting your attention to look up at the tree stand.
Dressed all in camo.
Yeah, it's just a very cool setup and very professionally built. So that sparked our interest right off the bat.
Yes, and we had to we tracked Dave down, and Dave says, hey, how about you guys come out to my tree stand before you leave, about an hour north of Harrisburg, and I'll take you at my dad's house. I'll drive you out to it in my pickup truck in the cornfield, and we will sit there, and we will do the podcast inside of one of his biggest tree stands that he makes.
What an experience.
We said, absolutely. I mean, who doesn't do that? And we had cookies, and we had Bloody Marys for breakfast, and it was just before we were starting to get ready to head out. But what an awesome, awesome experience. And there were turkeys in the field. Just amazing. We got to listen to Dave's story about how he even got there in the first place. And that show is going to air in its entirety as well, along with the Trent Cole and Blitz TV television show interview and the Chipcity Blablo interview. All three of those, all interviews we conducted at the Great American Outdoor Show, will be played in its entirety in a future show in the very near future.
Be ready.
It is. But I would like to play just a quick excerpt from the Tree Stands by Dave from the podcast we actually did inside his tree stand.
And actually, we're sitting here in Pennsylvania. My good friend Dusty Phillips is no longer in Ohio at the moment. He's sitting right next to me. Dusty, what's going on?
We are living a dream.
We are in God's country right now.
We are in God's country. We are on a mission to come here to conquer the Great American Outdoor Show, and I think we've done it.
We had an amazing weekend. Met some amazing people.
And we're sitting here with amazing gentlemen as we speak.
Yep. We're here with Dave Hoffman. Dave, say hello.
Hey. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here. And thanks for having me on.
Dave is, Dave, we were walking around the show, and you win for best display.
Appreciate
no question.
that.
Hands down.
When you have somebody standing, 12 feet up in the air, blowing a grunt call at you.
It gets your attention.
It gets your attention, especially if you're a deer hunter. Just to describe what we saw, we turned the corner and there's this amazing looking platform that is just these super structure. I don't know what it's made of. We're going to learn that in a minute, but it was basically a dream tree stand placed on the side aisle at the Great American Outdoor Show. And it's so impressive. Then you look up and there's a guy dressed in camo with his bow and a grunt call, and you can hear the grunt call, and it just caught your attention. And we got to talk to this guy.
It's so funny that how this all come about. I actually seen it and ran into the people in front of me that stopped.
Yeah.
I was so amazed at the structure quality of the Tree Stands by Dave. that it was phenomenal. We had to talk to him.
It's one of those dreams. I mean, and if you look at it, you're like, I wouldn't call that a tree stand necessarily initially, but it looked like a great, awesome, fun tree house. And, but it doubles as a tree stand, which we like as hunters. So it was great. So thanks to Dave for joining us and inviting us to his tree stand, called the Falcon, by the way. And we get to hear his entire story about the tree stands that he makes, how he got to that position, and where he plans to take his business. So, Dusty, was that not just one of the most amazing experiences we've had as podcasters since we started doing this?
It definitely was. It was one of the things where that was the icing on the cake for the whole trip.
Absolutely.
Dave's hospitality. Dave drove us out there. We didn't just drive back a lane and get in a tree stand. We actually 4-wheel drive out through a cut cornfield to this tree stand.
Yeah.
We was kind of, in a sense, Baja on a Ford pickup out to the tree stand.
Absolutely. We were off-roading in a cornfield with, a half a foot of snow.
At least.
Just barreling through, hoping to God we didn't get stuck and have to walk back.
His dad had a pickup, and it was a pretty good distance back to get it to pull us out if we got stuck.
Yep.
What an experience, Jay.
What an experience. And one of the things that would kind of grab my attention when we were there is how hunting is different in different states. I mean, there was a lot of wide open country, a lot of fields and bluffs and things like that, and hedgerows. That's not the type of hunting I experienced in New Hampshire. It's all rocky and mountainous and woods. I don't get these big fields, but just to listen to you guys describe how your hunts would develop, where that deer came from that Dave shot, and you were telling me that's very much what it's like to hunt in Ohio. It was a great experience just to visualize what it was like to hunt in other places.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the things where, in a sense, in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, it reminded me a lot of Ohio. The deer kind of bed in the woods, and they move out to the grain fields to kind of pasture in the evening. And that's typically where your best shots are going to be, is out kind of in the open where they come to feed of an evening.
Interesting. So much different than what I'm used to, but I love hearing about these other stories about how other hunters are doing it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of what we love about the Big Buck Registry, Big Buck podcast. We love to hear the stories. We love to hear the what it's like in different areas.
Yeah.
What's it like to be a conservationist in your area? That's what's cool.
Exactly. What's it like to hunt in Florida? What's it like to hunt in Ohio? What's it like to hunt in Alaska and Maine, New Hampshire? And how did you harvest that big buck? That's what this is all about, kind of laying down some framework.
Yeah, and it's different everywhere you hunt. Every hunter, every area is a different hunt.
Yep. A couple of other interesting stops we had along the way. We met the Seth McGinn, the inventor of the CanCooker, which is in pretty much every outdoor store I think I've seen from Maine to California. That was a very nice guy. Let us hang out and talk to us a little bit about the CanCooker, and took a nice photo spot there. The stump line, this giant. Tell us about the stump line, Dusty.
It's called nature blinds if you look them up, and it actually looks like a tree stump that what I would say is a spray foam kind of material. Some people might call it a drive it, but it looks actually like a 6-foot tree stump sitting on the ground there, and it's got shooting windows, a door you walk into. It's all the comforts of home, but in a ground blind. Looks like a tree stump.
Yep. And outfitters were buying these things up by the semi pickup, or it's not semi pickup, a semi truckload on a flatbed. They were hauling 7 of them out at a time, and that's basically what you're going to fit on a flatbed on a semi, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's I think it'd be great for somebody that was maybe a little fidgety in the woods, or somebody that got cold easy. You could have a heater. You could have a TV out there if you needed it.
It was awesome, just so cool. Now, before we wrap up, Dusty, I do want to just make a comment about one of what I thought was probably the best booth at the whole show, and it was the Copenhagen booth, the chewing tobacco company.
What a neat experience! That if you get a chance, take advantage of that. Even if you're not a non-tobacco user, walk through one of their booths.
Right. Now, you're a tobacco user. You like to chew tobacco. I'm not a tobacco user. I used to be back in the day when I played baseball. But
this thing was taking chewing tobacco and making it an experience, and you did not even have to chew tobacco to go through there. Didn't even put it in your mouth.
I think I drive a better nail than you, but
dude, I got it in one fell swoop. Boom, done.
I think I missed the first swing.
You did? So
I might have.
Now you did beat me in the other challenge where you took the keychain off the nail with the tape measure. You beat me hands down.
Yeah, it's I grew up with a tape measure in my hand, so I could see that.
Yep. And then we both were able to get the tin that is on the top of a Copenhagen can engraved with our own initials, Big Buck Registry, and you got Chubby Tines Outdoors.
Yeah, that's just something, a little keepsake from our experience.
Right. And then we got a can of Copenhagen sample for free, and you could buy a can for $1 as you were exiting. It was basically taking chewing tobacco into a Disney-like experience at a show with a booth that you can move around. And it was, I think, probably the best experience I've ever had with something I don't do. Just crazy.
Yeah, it was unique. It was different from any other thing that we experienced there.
So kudos to Copenhagen. We may actually steal your idea someday when we decide to do a booth for the Big Buck Registry and have our own basically deer camp porch where we'll be set up telling deer stories from anybody that wants to join us to tell us their deer story and make it an experience too.
Yeah, and have a little walkthrough like they did, and some activities inside, and just something that you'll remember for a lifetime.
Absolutely, man. So, well, Dusty, thanks for joining me at the Great American Outdoor Show. It's great to actually meet you face to face. We get on this show every single week, and we rib each other and we joke around, but it was awesome just hanging out with you for a few days.
Yeah, I look forward to our next experience together, and Jay, I got to tell you, thanks for allowing me to be the co-host on the Big Buck Registry Big Buck podcast. It's been one heck of an experience, and we've talked with some great people and met some awesome new friends.
Absolutely. All right, man. Speaking of that, how can our listeners and our fans find you?
Facebook /Chubby Tines Outdoors. Jay, how can they get in touch with the Big Buck Registry?
All right. It's facebook.com /Big Buck Registry. Our website is bigbuckregistry.com. Our phone number is 724-613-2825. You can send a text picture there. If you have a big buck, you can always submit a photo on Facebook. You can email us at j@bigbuckregistry.com if you'd like to be on the show. If you'd like to tell your story about a big deer you shot, don't worry about it. We'll walk you through it. We're getting very good at this. Don't be nervous. Just sit back, relax, just like you're on the porch at deer camp, and we'll walk you through every little step of your hunt and recreate it for our listeners. Other than that, Dusty, I think that's a wrap, man.
Yeah, what a great experience at the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania Great American Outdoor Show. Jay, been great. What a great show. What a great experience. Pleasure to meet you. And folks, we'll see you next week. And I'm Dusty Phillips.
I'm Jay Scott, and this is the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast. See you next week.
Can't wait.